America, please get me out of this place. I'm tired. I'm losing my shit. Tired. I'm fucking 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 tired. Fucking tired.
Americans are tired. Like, we are working paycheck to paycheck. We can't even afford groceries. We can't afford gas. You can't afford rent. You can't afford bills. You can't afford to have fun. You can't afford a drink. You can't afford anything. And people are upset, and people are posting about it online every single day.
You criticize one thing about the United States and they're like, leave. If you don't like it here, then just leave. I don't think most Americans realize how hard it is to leave the United States legally without risk of being deported back here. Like, it is incredibly difficult, even for you. Like, most of us don't have the mobility to do that. A lot of Americans are more akin to animals trapped in a cage. Like, there is no practical, plausible way for you to leave the United States safely without the chance you're just going to get sent back here. Like, that is what I think is crazy. And it's kind of odd that those people don't question that, because if a lot of people could easily leave the country, they would. And what that leads me to is, what happens if they're wrong and it is an autocracy? I'm just using this for them, not for you guys. We know it's a fucking fascism, autocracy. It's all coming. I mean, it's here. It's been here. It's just headed for white people now. Then what are they gonna do? Most of them are working paycheck to paycheck and living in the middle of nowhere. How are you gonna leave the country if you're wrong? I just don't understand the logic behind it. They're all like, don't trust the government, and then like, there they go, trusting the government.
Look, I just read an article that was in the Financial Times that described that a single salary is no longer enough to support a family of four. Again, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, go a little rock and roll country or R&B, what the American people need right now is leadership from both parties to stand up and do something for them for a change. In other words, the same vigor and fervor that they use, the people in the bubble whose children gonna be all right. You know who's gonna suffer is the everyday Americans in this country, as long as they continue to focus on who they're gonna impeach next, instead of standing up to make sure that Big Mama and Big Papa in hoods all over this country, whether they're rural hoods, urban hoods, or suburban hoods, have what it takes to be able to live a good life. A lot of Americans are saying, what American dream? It is slipping through their fingers. And so, Chris, for me, I am on the side of the American people. I am on the side of the everyday person in this country that's struggling every day to try to make ends meet. And both parties have been complicit in serving the needs of the American people because they too busy going after each other on this
You're not struggling because you're poor. You're struggling because you live in the USA. You're struggling because prices have gone up tremendously, but the wages haven't. You're struggling because your bills continue to increase, but your wages haven't. You're struggling because you have greedy, corrupt CEOs of companies that are continuing to record record profits, but are refusing to pay their workers a livable wage. You're struggling because the country that prints money won't give that money back to its people. You're struggling because the country that is in $37 trillion and counting worth of debt somehow finds a way to give billions of dollars to fund new wars, but won't find any money to fund the poor. You're struggling because this country is stealing 30 to 40% of your income, if not more. You're struggling because after this country wrongfully took 30 to 40% of your income, they're telling you to pay more during tax season. You're struggling because homes that used to cost $150,000 to $200,000 10 to 15 years ago are now costing $400,000, if not $500,000. You're struggling because those starter homes that used to be seen as affordable are now being bought by large corporations. You're struggling because rent was under $1,000 10 to 15 years ago is now costing almost $3,000 for a one bedroom. You're struggling because these greedy landlords continue to increase the rent. You're struggling because a $100 grocery bill 10 to 15 years ago will get you a huge haul, will now only get you a few things in 2025. You're struggling because the gas that you used to fill up your car used to be $1 and some change per gallon is now almost $4 a gallon. You're struggling because the cost of having a good time and living life has gone up tremendously. An airplane ticket used to be $200 round trip is now $400 one way. It used to cost under $1,000 to enjoy a vacation. Now it's costing almost $3,000 to $4,000 depending on where you go. You're struggling because you're forced to get a second job just to make ends meet as things continue to skyrocket. You're struggling because the American dream is no longer the American dream, it's the American nightmare.
I don't think most people realize that are saying tariffs aren't going to affect most people realize how down bad the average American is financially. I was reading an article and it was saying 50 to 60% of Americans can't even afford a $1,000 emergency out of pocket. Honestly, I could see that. I'm not surprised to hear that, but I am surprised to hear how many people say that, oh, well, tariffs aren't going to affect people. They really are. Everything is going up. And even in real estate, which I sell, we are starting to see the price of things going up for new construction and renovations for homes, because most of the things used in new construction and housing in general is not made in America. Don't want to scare anybody, just be ready. But prices for pretty much everything, definitely home ownership, is going to go up if these tariffs continue the way that they are right now.
I was thinking about this. We are the richest country on the planet, one of the richest countries. Why does it look like ass? Like, really think about that for a second. Like, when you're driving, if you're not in like Florida or California or the coast of like Oregon or whatever, it's like, this place looks like shit. And we have so much money. Like, I'm thinking of like Europe and Japan and all of the architecture like across the world and how beautiful it looks. Why don't we have like rose gold fucking buildings, and like, why does the Kmart's and like all of the stores look like shit? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking in my head, I'm closing my eyes and I can imagine like like, look at China, like Shanghai, like the coast, like all those videos you see. That's like, no joke, stunning, beautiful, high tech. You would think America would look like that with the amount of money that we have, but it just looks like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Living in America is exhausting. You wake up tired, you go to work tired, you come home barely surviving, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, come home, and you're still fucking broke. Every single month, rent's due. Rent is through the roof. Groceries are double what they used to be just 2 years ago. You go to the gas pump to fill up your car and it's like you paid another car note. Everything, and I mean everything, is up in price. But your paycheck, still the same. And once inflation gets done with it, it's probably even a little less. Yet somehow, they keep telling us, just budget a little bit more. Just work a little bit harder. Like, I'm sorry, how many jobs do I need now? 4? 5? 7? That's not living. That's barely surviving.
My phone died in my car. But we need to find a way to make sure our voices are heard. I know people are constantly boycotting and people are doing all these things. I know the old school ways of voting, send emails, pick up the phone, and yes, those methods are effective. I'm not gonna knock them, but how effective are they if things are only getting worse and people are sending the emails? We are calling our representatives. We are holding people accountable. We need to come together. I know things are always going viral, but how about things like mass boycotting the housing market and all these things go viral? Like, nobody buys a house for how many months until things get better? Nobody goes to all these stores. Like, we need to all come together. How cool would that be? We can be heard, things can get better, but we have to come together.